Next postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight, Game 3 in Detroit. Cat with a great bounce-back performance, 31 points. Put the Knicks up by 7 with about 3 minutes to go. Pistons down 3. About a minute to go. Cade Cunningham lost it. Here come the Knicks in transition. Jalen Brunson, key 2, puts the Knicks up by 5. Brunson tonight had a huge game with 30. The watch party, checking that out. Big sequence for the Knicks, and they go on to win Game 3, prevailing by 2 in Detroit, 118 to 116. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito along with Wally Zerbiak. How about that for playoff intensity? Karl-Anthony Towns just talking to Mike and Alan post-game. The key was Knicks execution.
Yeah.
And Detroit hung in there, made it a very close game in crunch time, but tonight the Knicks were able to prevail when it mattered the most.
I think Knicks execution, also adjustments that the coaching staff made, making sure that a lot of guys got their hands on the ball and got an opportunity to get into rhythm offensively. Goes both ways with Karl-Anthony Towns. He was way more aggressive in this game. When he got the ball, he looked to make something happen every time he touched it. And conversely, I think the Knicks did a good job getting him the ball in the right places on the court where he could be effective. An outstanding team win. This was a good road team in the regular season, 24-17. This team doesn't mind going on the road and picking up big wins. They silenced a massive, raucous crowd there in Detroit and came away with a huge victory.
So the Knicks up 2-1, now have home court advantage once again. And I think really important, the Knicks led after each quarter. That had not been the case in games 1 and 2, but every single time after a 12-minute stretch, the Knicks were in front. And in the fourth quarter, they took a 10-point lead into the fourth quarter and were able to prevail down the stretch.
Looked like a totally focused basketball team. 2 days off to prepare for this one, and they were ready to go, and they established their lead early on in the game. Now, this fourth quarter, it got hairy, boy. I'll tell you, these Pistons do not go away. They were playing defense, trying to get themselves back into these games. Dennis Schroeder just makes big plays and big shots, but boy, was Jalen Brunson huge. 4 for 6 down the stretch in the fourth quarter, struggled 4-15 to start the game, but Karl-Anthony Towns was right there with Jalen Brunson making big shots. That increased the lead to 7. Off this miss, here the lead is down to 3, and then Cade Cunningham, a 3-point game, gets to the front of the rim. Outstanding defense by Karl-Anthony Towns, and I love Brunson not waiting for the defense to get set. Attack and transition when the defense isn't ready. Big basket, puts him up 5. Another huge basket, puts him up 7. That's what Brunson does. Mr. Clutch won the Clutch Award, showed why he won the Clutch Award. Just a monster win for the Knicks.
Brunson with the 30-12 came in the fourth quarter. You see the stats. Notice the Knicks from the line. Fantastic, 26 out of 29. And points in the paint, Knicks with 46, Pistons with 36. Didn't matter that the Pistons bench outscored the Knicks bench 40-9. Monica McNutt now joins us in Detroit. She called the game on the radio on ESPN New York. All right, Monica, what do you think?
I was really impressed with the total team effort tonight. I thought that each guy was a star in their role. I don't think anybody tried to play outside of themselves, and it felt like they were really connected and looked out for one another. Karl-Anthony Towns obviously was the hot topic between these two games, and tonight I thought he did a great job of responding, and his teammates looked to him and instilled confidence in him. So it was a great performance. It was a solid win. The last 10 seconds or so was a little tricky, a little befuddling, if I may, but ultimately the Knicks get out of here and take the lead in the series, and that's a good thing.
Monica, your key to the game was focus, and this team took their focus level to a different level to start this game. What did you see out of these guys as far as being ready to play tonight?
You know, Wally, being in the arena, and I will give the Pistons game presentation team, their organization, these fans, their credit, because it was loud in here. And I think when you saw the little fracases, if I may, in the first half, whether it was Mitchell Robinson or Karl-Anthony Towns, like it was a little bit of a teetering, because we have not really seen that sort of thing from this team over the course of the regular season. But as you heard from J.B. Bickerstaff between games, the Pistons are leaning into the physicality. And so you felt these moments of, all right, is this going to be a distraction for the Knicks, or are they going to close ranks and respond? And I thought tonight, every time there was a little scuffle, a little bit extra, they did exactly that. They closed ranks and they managed to respond, because ultimately, you ain't got to do all that huffing and puffing, just play ball. And tonight, they played ball, and they made this Pistons defense work.
Monica, can't forget about OG Anunoby and the way he scored tonight, Wally, with the 22 points.
Yeah.
And Mikal Bridges, Monica, also helped out on offense with 20.
And that's why, to me, Bill, both of those guys were stars in their roles. To me, OG's 22 was a little bit quiet. I mean, he was terrific from the three-point line, but I was more impressed with both of those gentlemen in terms of their defensive effort to start this ball game. OG Anunoby gets a block on Cade Cunningham, and yes, Cade Cunningham still gets a double-double, but he's an all-star. That was not an easy double-double compared to the ease that we saw him score with in game 2. And for Mikal Bridges, before he got going in the scoring column, which probably happened about 4 minutes to go in the first half, I thought he was great coming up with big-time rebounds. And so those guys put their stamp on this basketball game without only hanging their hat on scoring, and thus scoring was actually a byproduct. I thought it was a terrific game for everybody playing to their strengths.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it. As the Knicks go up 2-1. Also, well, I got to mention Josh Hart. 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Only scored 6 points, but as always, filled up the box score in other ways. And his physicality helped the Knicks in what was a very physical game from start to finish.
Also, the way he gets loose balls. Any loose change out there, he finds it. He gets those loose rebounds where you're like, someone grab the ball, and he's just so quick to those loose balls. And that's part of the physical play that wins in the playoffs. Here you see Mikal Bridges, and there's Karl-Anthony Towns. He's like, I've had enough of this business here. Karl-Anthony Towns has got the skill level over all the Pistons, obviously, just has to match the physicality. How about that screen? Karl-Anthony Towns just gets a nice little dagger job at Asur Thompson, a little grabbing, little holding. Mitchell Robinson's like, wait a second, Paul Reed, wait a second. Paul Reed almost took out Zach Zarba on that one with an elbow. That's not what you want to do with the officials. And there's Hardaway Jr. And I like the way Mikal Bridges just walked away from that one. There are certain times where you gotta stand up, you gotta be macho.
And not lose your poise.
Not lose your poise.
Right?
But at the same time, there are certain times where you're like, guys, like, this is enough. And there's a reason why the Pistons, everyone was in foul trouble almost on their roster, because they foul almost on every single play. And I give this refereeing crew credit. They kept the Pistons honest defensively. They called the right fouls. They kept this game clean. And that's how you have to handle a team that wants to come in physical. You got to respect the rules of basketball. There are rules that you have to follow. And the Pistons try to bend and try to push those rules and stretch them to the max. But the officials, I think, today did a good job of keeping this game in check and clean to the point where if it's a foul, we're going to call it every single time.
I got to rub in my stat of the night, okay?
Yes.
For teams that win Game 3 in an NBA best-of-7 series that's tied at 1 game apiece, the winner of Game 3 wins the series 74% of the time.
You know, players hate to hear that.
All right. Well, just thought I'd throw it out there.
Because the Pistons still think they're going to win this series.